So if you have chronic bloating, constipation, diarrhea, maybe it goes back and forth. After you take a drink of water, you feel bloated, and you somehow wake up extremely bloated. These are all signs of SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And about 70% of IBS cases are SIBO, and about 40% of the population or more struggle from SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Also, analysis show that Helicobacter pylori, which is a bacterial overgrowth, has been associated with hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's. You have something called your gut thyroid axis, and if your gut is in shambles, then your thyroid is as well, which is going to slow down your metabolism, therefore giving you weight loss resistance. So we know that all disease begins in the gut, truthfully, because your gut is interconnected with every single system inside your body. But how do I want to talk about this in the thing of SIBO? Well, inside my coaching practice / clinic, whatever you want to call it, I use GI map testing. So this is DNA stool analysis testing. And what this test actually gets to identify is that if you're dealing with an opportunistic or dysbiotic overgrowth. With this type of overgrowth, it is a clear sign that you could be dealing with SIBO. Now, another thing that most individuals have is low diversity in their gut microbiome. And it's been shown also that if you have low diversity inside your gut, you will be unhealthier. The less diverse your gut is, the more unhealthy you are, essentially. And another big thing about the GI map testing is that you're also figuring out how good your immune system gut lining is intact through zonulin testing. So that's another big reason why I do the GI map testing. Now, all in all, SIBO, constipation, bloating, diarrhea, and then even neurological issues. So this could be things like brain fog, fatigue, forgetfulness, poor mental clarity. So these are all signs of the poor cognitive decline that happens from just gut issues. Because if you're dealing with a gut issue like SIBO, then that bacterial overgrowth can lead to a leaky gut, and that leaky gut can lead to neuroinflammation, so inflammation in the brain. And that's essentially how things start to pile on. You have a lot of brain fog, you have fatigue now, you have the bloating, you have the constipation, and then we talked about the thyroid gut axis. So now you have a sluggish metabolism, sluggish thyroid hormone, and now you're wondering why you can't feel well or lose weight. So with SIBO specifically, you want to be focusing on getting rid of the overgrowth of bacteria in the small intestine. And with many people, they don't realize that they're feeding their intestine each and every single day of bacteria, which you do not want. So these are things like they're eating higher fermented foods. So these are something called higher FODMAP foods. They're taking probiotics, or they're taking a bunch of fermented foods like kimchi, sauerkraut, and even yogurt. They're eating all these foods and they're thinking, oh, I'm doing good for my gut health. But what's happening is that since you're already dealing with an overgrowth of bacteria, all these things are just feeding more into your bacterial overgrowth. So what that means is that you could be eating these foods, taking these supplements, thinking that you're helping your gut health, but in reality, you're just feeding more into the bacteria that's fermenting inside your gut, specifically in your small intestine in cases of SIBO. So with all that being said, what you want to focus on with SIBO is you need to reduce these things. You need to reduce the fermented foods because you do not want them, because they're going to feed into the bacterial overgrowth that's happening inside your gut. This is why you have broccoli, asparagus, and things like that cause bloating, extremely painful constipation, painful abdominal pain after you get done eating them, because you are dealing with adding more fermentation to the gut. So with all that being said, this is why they recommend, or I sometimes recommend, a lower FODMAP diet initially for SIBO, because what that diet is going to do, it's going to lower the intake of this fermented carbohydrates. So then you're going to reduce the bacterial overgrowth that relies in your small intestine. Now, another big thing with SIBO is that majority of the time, if you go to your normal conventional Western care physician, gastroenterologist, or someone like that, they're going to prescribe antibiotics. Antibiotics have their time and place, and they're very good, very useful, life-saving. But the thing is that some people have been taking so many rounds of antibiotics that they're called antibiotic resistant. So they're taking antibiotics and it's not working. Or two, really, this is the truthful thing, is that antibiotics wipe out the entirety of the microbiome, which then causes tons of other health issues and even leads to more bacterial overgrowth in the near future. So with all that being said, antibiotics would not be the first thing I would do. It could be something that you could do later on, but definitely not in the beginning. So what does all this mean? SIBO, constipation, bloating, diarrhea, goes back and forth. After you drink a glass of water, you feel bloated, distended. You feel that your gut is pressed out, 6 months pregnant. That's all SIBO. And like I said, GI map testing could be a great indication on figuring if you have this, which I'm giving out for free, and you're going to be able to figure out through a stool test what's going on inside your gut, not just the bacterial overgrowth, but how intact your immune system is. Now, another big thing about this GI map test is that it also measures parasites, worms, and viruses. So a lot of people deal with some type of EBV, so a different type of infection, and then they also deal with parasites in the stool. So a lot of people have parasites, they don't even know it. It's a whole different topic. And then people have worms. And then a big thing too is that many people have candida, which is fungal overgrowth. And a telltale sign, if you are dealing with candida, is you crave salt and sugar all the time. Because so many women in my program, after initially like a week, even after some days, their willingness to want sugar and those sweets pretty much go away. And that's because actually I focus on removing that candida overgrowth, because the candida overgrowth thrives in sugar and salty foods or whatever, drinks as well. So with all that being said, that's why we use the GI map testing. And just like there's SIBO, there could be SIFO, which is the same thing, but it's a fungal overgrowth. So SIBO, if you don't know, stands for small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And so many people, even if they look healthy on the outside, still deal with it because they can still have a buildup of bacteria that then is now pressing up in their gut, that is now causing the intestines to be very inflamed, therefore causing them to also have a leaky gut, which is increased permeability. This is how gut issues turn into fatigue, poor mental clarity, insomnia, and then even a cast of hormonal issues. Okay, because if your gut is not intact, if you're dealing with this overgrowth like I'm speaking on, your hormones aren't going to get synthesized and processed efficiently and effectively, especially your estrogen as a female. So this is how women get estrogen dominance as well, because there is a whole process on how your body eliminates excess estrogen from outside of your body. So with all this being said, what can you do? Well, the first thing is don't run and take antibiotics initially. Now, I said those could be definitely have their time and place, but you got to use antimicrobial and antifungal herbs to eradicate this dysbiosis. Now, here's not the only thing. You have to fix your diet and lifestyle, because if you're continuing to keep stressing, if you're continuing to keep not fix your other, let's say, organ systems and hormones, such as if you don't fix your thyroid hormone, if you don't fix your adrenal hormone, then you're not going to actually heal your gut. And that's actually where most people go wrong and why people don't get better after seeing their naturopath or functional medicine doctor, because all they're going to do is fix only the gut. And that's totally faulty, because you have to fix the whole body, everything. And so that's the issue. That's a whole different topic. But with that being said, if your adrenals are over or out of control, if you're producing too much cortisol, if you aren't producing any cortisol, because your body has been producing it for so long, so now you're dealing with adrenal insufficiency, then you're going to have issues. You're going to have gut problems, you're going to have slow motility, or you're going to have too much motility. Same thing is going to be with the thyroid gland. If you have poor thyroid gland function, or if you don't have any support to support your thyroid gland function, you're not going to adequately heal your gut. Because like I said, you have a gut-thyroid axis. Another big thing is you have to reduce the inflammation from the foods that you're putting in to your body. Now, bone broth is very good. Glycine is very good. Glutamine is incredible. Apple cider vinegar is incredible. Lemon juice is incredible. But you have to get rid of these things that are inflaming your gut. So these are, a lot of times, gluten's terrible. Some people, dairy could be very good. Vegetable oils, processed foods, and then the biggest ones being added sugars are going to be the number one thing to remove from your diet to heal your gut. The second thing is going to be food preservatives, food additives. So these are going to be things like emulsifiers. All these things that you eat that have these things in them, they actually don't digest. They stay inside your intestines, and they start to ferment. And this fermentation is going to produce the gas. It's going to cause you this SIBO. So that's why it's important to really watch the ingredients that you're eating, and it's all about the ingredients. I could care less when I'm trying to focus on healing your gut, how much you're eating, or if you're getting specific macronutrients in, because really initially you have to get rid of the ingredients that you're flooding your body with, the negative ingredients that you're flooding your body with, that is feeding into this small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Now, this is another reason why we do actual testing to identify what type of overgrowth you are struggling with, because we need to know if it's a specific strain of bacteria in a way of healing the body, because you actually have more bacteria strains inside your gut than cells inside your body. And obviously we don't know what all the bacteria there is, but there are specific key strains that the GI map does test. And those strains have specific functions they do inside your body. Some work with metabolic processes, some work with neurological things. So you really have to hone in on what type of bacteria strain are you in overgrowth in, are you struggling in. So that's what the big thing with SIBO is, that you have to get the right testing, and then you have to fix your diet, you have to fix your lifestyle, you have to use specific antimicrobial herbs or antifungal herbs to actually get rid of the overgrowth. And then you actually have to support other organs and hormones that actually influence your gut as well. So this is why it's important to take that true holistic approach when you are dealing with this issue. So, like I said, I'm giving out the free GI map test, which is going to severely identify what type of bacterial overgrowth you're dealing with. It's going to actually figure out what's going on with your gut. And so that's going to help us develop a plan for you to finally feel better and not feel so bloated, distended, constipated all the time. Then after that, I'm going to fix your gut, and then I'm going to balance your hormones, and then I'm going to help you lose, well, during the process, you're going to lose the excess body fat, but I'm going to make sure that you initially lose the rest of the excess body fat that you're struggling to lose and get into a fit, tight, toned body that you want to do, that you want to have. So that's essentially what we focus on here at Complete Vitality, is making the complete transformation, because I'm going to get you from struggling, surviving, to conquering and total in-body control. So hope this video was helpful, and let's do it.